Hi, welcome to my presentation. I chose to focus on home living. This is a final presentation for transition planning for students with mild disabilities. My name's Alyssa Fitzgerald. The learning objectives for my presentation: graduate student will be able to identify 2 areas of home living from the following: hygiene, laundry, cleaning, and cooking, 4 that I chose, and 4 skills related to each area. As well as graduate student will be able to verbally explain a lesson plan or activity to teach a multi-step home living skill. And I chose home living because in the classroom setting, we talk about students being in their least restrictive environment. And by teaching home living skills, students will hopefully have the skills necessary to live as independently as possible in their personal least restrictive environment for the future. So while we only have students in classrooms up until age 18 or 21, students live long, healthy lives long beyond the age of 18. And so by teaching them these independent home living skills, they can hopefully be in a setting where they can live on their own and don't have to depend on as many people for doing the things that need to be done every day. So the 4 areas of home living that I focused on were hygiene, laundry, cleaning, and cooking. There are other areas that people could add to this list, but these are the 4 that I thought would be most important, regardless of what kind of environment a student lives in after going through high school. So under hygiene, I have bathrooming, the toileting routines, just being able to go in, shut the door, pull down your pants, do your business, and clean up after yourself. So toileting, washing hands in the end, bathing, making sure that students know that it's important to take a bath every other day, every day. Grooming, as far as facial hair, when students become 18, 20, and grow up. And then nails, which can also lead to other health problems, as well as dressing, just being able to get dressed, whether it's for being in the community or having a job, being employed. It's important to know how to dress oneself, especially dressing for the weather as well. Next topic would be laundry, being able to separate clothing, lights and darks, put them in the washer, how to add detergent, all of that, putting them in the dryer, cleaning the lint trap so that nothing starts on fire, and then putting clothes away rather than just letting them sit on the floor or in bins. As far as cleaning goes, chemical safety, what you do when chemicals get in your eyes, what do you do if chemicals get on surfaces they shouldn't be on. Proper chemical use, such as you use glass cleaner on glass, you don't use bleach on carpets, all those things. Waste disposal, what goes in the trash, what goes in the recycling, how often to take it out, where does it go, how not to litter in the end, and then vacuuming versus sweeping, what surfaces get vacuumed, what surfaces get swept, and how do you take care of both of those, and what happens if something per se goes wrong with the vacuum cleaner, how do you clean it and change it out. And last would be cooking, how to eat a balanced diet. The diagram on the right is a portion plate, so how much fruit, veggies, grain, protein everyone needs to consume in a day. How to prepare food safely, whether that's the food being heated up, how not to cross-contaminate, how not to leave food out for too long. Sanitary food storage would be part of that too, that you don't leave meat sitting out, that you need to refrigerate things, that food does go bad after a certain amount of time. And last, dishes, how to clean up after yourself, make sure that dishes don't grow mold, that they're clean dishes and where to put them and how to clean them and all of that. So a lesson plan that I put together is on laundry, and so just keep in mind that all of these would be manipulatives. So first would be how to sort lights and darks, for example. So what goes in lights, what goes in darks, and students would be able to move the items to the appropriate category. One of the inspirations for this lesson was one of my students who ended up working on a speech goal, which was putting things into categories. So lights and darks would be 2 categories she could try and sort into. And now being able to sort these things, might not be important when some people just throw everything into a load. The reality is, though, that it would be important if you don't want to be dyeing your clothes, that you know how to separate into these categories. The second task would be figuring out the order, the sequence of the washer. It's important to, of course, put the clothes in the washer before starting the washer, or to add detergent before starting the washer. So students would be able to move the various tasks into the appropriate order, the step order. You could also add pictures if students are having trouble with reading the words. And the same goes for the dryer. Trying to move your clothes from washer to dryer first, empty the lint trap, close the dryer door, all the steps in this multi-step process. And last would be which goes where, what gets folded, what gets hung, how to put your clothes away, so that you can find them again and that they aren't wrinkly, that they are professional looking if you have employment you need to get to, and that every step of the multi-step process is taken care of so that students can care for themselves. Potential goals within this, you could have goals that students are able to sort clothing items into the 2 categories, as I was talking about my student earlier. You could also have students practice the various steps, being able to go through the steps of programming a washer and adding the detergent and starting it, as well as doing everything for the dryer, practicing how students can complete their laundry by emptying the lint dryer if they haven't done that already, folding and hanging clothing items, and then returning the clothing items to the appropriate place. So other lesson ideas that could address home living include matching cleaning chemicals to surfaces. You could have a bunch of pictures of cleaning items and then the various surfaces they could be used to clean and matching them, or having boxes that say, bathroom, kitchen, all of that, and where the chemicals go or where they would be used. Students could also be given a picture of a plate and various kinds of food, and they could match the portioned plate out with the correct amount of foods from various food groups, as was shown underneath the cooking. We have cause and effect with hygiene, like if I do not shower, I will start to smell. If I do not brush my teeth, I will get cavities, the cause and effect of why we do what we do. If I do not clip my toenails, they might grow in, and that would be painful. You could address the trash versus recycling and have kids practicing sorting that on a smart board so they don't actually have to touch actual trash or recycling. And then dishes, a step-by-step with dishes, how to run the water into the basin, add dish soap, wash the dish in there, rinse, put it in the drying rack, and when it's all done, you have to put away your dishes so you can use them again. Some other iPad applications that students could use. There's one that my students really like in elementary school called Cake Doodle. And you actually have to tilt the screen to pour various ingredients. You have to squeeze by pushing your hands together on the screen to squeeze out lemon for lemon juice. You have to crack the egg by, hitting it on the screen. So Cake Doodle is a good one as far as cooking. There's everyday cooking, which leads students through the steps and the processes of how to cook different things. There's Living Safely. It's got different safety guides and teaching students what to do in certain situations. I Dress for Weather is just teaching students what is important as far as what kind of clothing you wear for what kind of weather. And being in Minnesota, it's important to know how to dress for the weather just to be safe. There's also other ones that are more about the routines as far as morning routines and visual routines. So of course, visual routine, the application focuses on those visual routines. I Touch, I Learn has more life skills as far as being able to choose one's routine. And ChoiceWorks, again, kind of shows the cause and effect. If I do this, then this can happen. Or if I'm having trouble with this activity, what are my options? So those are a few iPad applications that students could use. How to promote functional learning in a classroom. In my current school, we have washer, dryers, and dishwashers in our classrooms or within our program. So students are learning how to start a washer and how to program it, how to start a dryer, and then how to, load the dishwasher and put the correct detergent in there and program it and start it and then put the dishes away afterwards. There is also a weekly cooking time every Thursday where students go through multi-step processes to learn how to cook. And so they're learning how to cook within the classroom environment, but they also in the cafeteria line are encouraged to choose foods that will lead to a balanced diet. And that's enforced or encouraged by teaching staff. There's daily and weekly chores that students complete, whether it is putting away the clean clothes, sweeping, vacuuming if necessary, just cleaning, wiping down surfaces and all of that. We try and also scaffold independent bathroom routines, so just trying to talk students through it, maybe doing a couple steps if they ask for help, and also posting visual routines in bathroom like the one you see on the right, so how to go through the steps to make sure that everything is taken care of. So some evidence-based strategies to teach these skills would be chaining, and this comes from Alberto and Troutman. Chaining can either be forward or backward chaining, so either you can do all the steps leading up to a skill, multi-steps, and have the student do the last skill in the chain, or they can do the first skill and you finish it all up. So if a student needs help with their bathroom routine, we go through the whole routine, and I will expect them to do like the end, washing their hands. The next time I'll expect them to, flush and then wash their hands, and continuing on, so that they have to do the last steps in the chain. Or it can be the other way around, where I expect them to go into the stall and do their business, and then I help them with the end of the routine. There's modeling, so talking students through the procedures. You wouldn't just have a student go in front of a washer machine and say, okay, start a load of laundry, but you would talk through what you're going to do, which is similar to self-instruction, where I would, as an instructor, tell students, okay, I'm putting the clothes in, and I'm putting the detergent, adding the detergent, closing the lid, programming the machine, and you would talk through it and then have them talk through it as they were doing it. And next time, as it goes, we'd fade until it's covert self-instruction, where students are talking through just in their head what they're doing, but they're not actually verbally saying what's going on. And then last would be experiential learning. So all the chores and the tasks that they're doing in the classroom, or also bringing them out in the community to help them learn, how different places have different cleaning procedures, or various just experiences. I know in our program we have students go out into the community on every Wednesday, and they're going to various places learning about food prep at like Hub Foods, and how to clean the equipment and the machines, just things like that, where they're out in the community and they're actually experiencing the learning rather than in front of a smart board, learning what the steps are. Some community resources as far as home living goes. Lutheran Social Services has a couple of sites, just a couple of transition homes and homes for people with disabilities. There's ACR Homes, which is in Roseville. I know they have an office in Roseville. Fraser in Minneapolis. The Minnesota Department of Human Services, of course, has a list of various housing sites that people can go to if they want to live in supported housing services. And then the Pacer Center had a great resource page for housing in Minnesota. So they also had various sites for different people looking for housing opportunities. In my research, I interviewed Tanisha Jones. She was a former paraprofessional in my district and took a job with Lutheran Social Services. She currently runs a house for 4 residents who have developmental disabilities. And she said when residents can independently complete their morning routine, like I said, the home living skills of bathing and getting dressed and all of that, it allows staff to focus on providing other recreational opportunities and facilitating activities. So residents are expected to help prepare house meals and clean up, of course not every day, but on a rotating schedule. But then the staff is responsible for their laundry, because there's only one washer and one dryer in the house, and it's more efficient to have the staff pool together all the laundry and take care of it, versus having the residents do their own, which works for that house. But it would also be very important for students to learn how to do their own laundry, because it's a very important life skill as well. Some helpful websites, again, you can look up from the resources earlier, but other helpful websites, as I said before, the Pacer Center had a wonderful page of just housing opportunities. You could also go to Lutheran Social Service, their supported living services. They have a whole list of the various houses and how to get involved with that. And then there's ACR Homes, which does provide services for people in homes for those with disabilities. So going there and seeing maybe what they suggest is important as far as living skills, but they seem to cater very much to however people are and their skill level, providing for them in whatever way possible. And other references, Alberto and Troutman, again, was about applied behavior analysis, how to teach these skills in helpful and instructive ways. And then Wayman, of course, Life Beyond the Classroom, all of the various ideas on how to instruct students with various disabilities. And yeah, that was our course book. So that's my presentation on home living. Hopefully you got something out of it. And if you have more to share, feel free. Again, this is Alyssa, and that's the end of my presentation. Thanks.